quite literally, someone was plotting my murder. Actually, a year from the date that Charlie was murdered on September 10th, someone was plotting my murder and got discovered. And that's still making its way through the courts. These people are calling for violence. That's the implicit threat here. They're all growing increasingly more radical, and they're feeling threatened by speech, which is why I implore all of you, which I see that you are, which is why they feel threatened, to continue to use it and to recognize these people are incredibly dangerous. They are very dangerous when a person.
They're killers. They're literally just genocidal killers. And now they're comparing Candace Owens to Hamas and Iran and saying they're a poison that needs to be neutralized. That's what that Israeli Knesset member, Likud member, Netanyahu's party, genocidal maniacs, that's what they're saying about just podcasters now. I will admit I was very, very worried for Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson when I saw this story come out that an Israeli Knesset member said that Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens are the new enemies within America, right? In the West. We are used to enemies from outside. We fight terror tunnels of Hamas. We fight the ballistic missiles of Iran. But today I look at the West, our greatest ally, and I see a new enemy rising from within. So, for starters, that point, I know we covered this briefly on the segment the other day, but for starters, this Knesset member is comparing not just any Knesset member. He's in the ruling party. He is a high-ranking official. This is a Likud party member, same party as Netanyahu. He's comparing Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson to Hamas. Well, what has Israel done to Hamas and the Gazan population for the past, nearly going on 3 years now? They have genocided them. They've killed them with wanton disregard for civilian life. What about Iran? Same thing. Ballistic missiles into Iran left and right, killed a bunch of civilians, decapitation strikes. So if you are Candace Owens and you're Tucker Carlson, you're reading this, what other way can you interpret what this Likud party member, this Likud Knesset member is saying than that he wants to do unto you what they did unto the Gazans and the Iranian people? Because that's how I read it. And then you go on here and he says not just that, he compares them to a poison, okay? He said, they claim to fight the woke left. They are no different than the woke left, blah, 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 blah. Intellectual vandalism. One of the worst moments was when a popular conservative broadcaster, blah, 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 blah. We have another, where did they say the thing? Oh, there we go. He said, I'm speaking of a poison being sold to the American people as patriotism. I'm speaking of the intellectual vandalism of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. Sorry, buddy, we got free speech in this country. If people want to say mean things about your very real country of Israel, your very real state of Israel, definitely not a fictional, contrived, ethno-genocidal state, right? If we want to say those things, we can say those things. And if people find that popular or correct or funny or something like that, then you can't threaten us. Can't do it. Right? We give you too much money every year. Too much military logistical support for that to be the case. But he's not only comparing them to Hamas and to Iran, great enemies of Israel and the Likud party, right? It's not just that. I'm sickened to see that, frankly. I'm sickened to see that. It's because he holds such expertise in, his former position that he's being targeted like that. Anyways, it's not just that they're comparing them to those organizations that they consider terrorist organizations, national security threats to the existence of the state of Israel, which would justify in some cases using nuclear weapons against. He's also calling them a poison. And what is a poison? If you get bitten by a rattlesnake and you have poison in your bloodstream, entering your bloodstream, what do you need to do? You need to have something that neutralizes the poison. What is neutralize another word for? To kill. So he's not just calling them terrorists that Israel has been killing for decades now. He's not just saying that this is what they are effectively. He's also saying that they are a poison and we need to find a way to neutralize them. All right. So Candace Owens has responded to this Likud Knesset member. Take a listen to what she has to say.
Well, Knesset, it's like their Congress. There was a Likud party representative who got up and gave a speech and declared me and Tucker Carlson to be enemies of the state of Israel. Me and Tucker Carlson, who are calling for peace, we are calling for national sovereignty. We are calling for people in Congress to actually serve American interests. And that apparently represents an existential threat to Israel. Here is what he had to say.
Mr. Speaker, members of the Knesset, I stand here in Jerusalem, the eternal capital of the Jewish
This guy was born in Canada, by the way.
people, to sound an alarm. We are used to
Totally native to the region. Totally native to the region. Born in Canada, by the way.
enemies from outside. We fight terror tunnels of Hamas.
I don't know why this guy who's born in Canada is freaking out about Candace Owens being a threat to his life. He should be more concerned about that desert sun raining over his face each and every day as he occupies Palestinian territory when he's supposed to be in the freezing cold Canadian winter.
We fight the ballistic missiles of Iran. But today, I look at the West, our greatest ally, and I see a new enemy rising from within. I am speaking of a poison being sold to the American people as patriotism. I'm speaking of the intellectual vandalism of Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. Mr. Speaker,
Why is he talking like that? He's trying to affect this Israeli Netanyahu-esque accent. Bro, give it a rest. You're not Matan Evans. You were born in Canada. Give it a rest.
be clear about what this is. They claim to fight the woke left. They are no different than the woke left. The radical left tears down the statues of Thomas Jefferson. Tucker Carlson tears down the legacy of Winston Churchill. The radical left says Western civilization is evil. Candace Owens says the roots of our faith are demonic. It is the same sickness. It is the same moral relativism. It is the same hatred of the West dressed up in a different costume.
Yeah, so to be clear, that is dangerous. The Likud party, and I was quite literally, someone was plotting my murder. Actually, a year from the date that Charlie was murdered on September 10th, someone was plotting my murder and got discovered, and that's still making its way through the courts. These people are calling for violence. That's the implicit threat here. They're all growing increasingly more radical, and they're feeling threatened by speech, which is why I implore all of you, which I see that you are, which is why they feel threatened, to continue to use it and to recognize these people are incredibly dangerous. They are very dangerous when a person.
They're killers. They're literally just genocidal killers. And now they're comparing Candace Owens to Hamas and Iran and saying they're a poison that needs to be neutralized. That's what that Israeli Knesset member, Likud member, Netanyahu's party, genocidal maniacs, that's what they're saying about just podcasters now.
Person is unwilling to say, here's what I did wrong, especially when that person has murdered tens of thousands of children, what they're doing down in Venezuela, Argentina. When they say the issue is people recognizing what they're doing. Argentina, they are tweeting. I mean, they are in the streets shouting against Zionism. And we're supposed to believe it's because everyone just hates Jews, everyone hates God's chosen people, or because you can no longer convince people that you are murdering, stealing, plundering, raping in the name of the Lord. I think it's the latter, but these people are dangerous. Okay, if anything happens to Tucker Carlson or me, you obviously know that Israel was involved. Obviously, that is unbelievably apparent in their rhetoric. They're name checking us. They're calling.
Yeah, but if anything ever does happen to Candace Owens, you're going to have people like Ben Shapiro come out and say, no, it was just a crazy leftist, crazy tranny leftist with a tranny girlfriend or something. Or you're gonna have Tim Pool come out and say anyone insinuating that Israel had something to do with it was is a cunt. But that's never gonna happen. God willing, protect Candace Owens, protect Tucker Carlson. They need good security. Tim Pool's getting paid those BB bucks. He doesn't need the security. Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, we need to protect them.
Us on stage. They're sending their goons out to harass us because we believe in America first and that we should stop getting involved in their interests, and that it is unacceptable, frankly, that our government gives more flack to Tucker Carlson, our government representatives give more flack to Tucker Carlson than they did to Jeffrey Epstein. That they choose to cover up the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein while pretending that speech in America is what's actually radical, not people who are actually harming children and abusing children sexually. We don't even have a government, in my view. Like, if we can't even protect the nation's most innocent, how do we even have a government?
Yeah, it does feel that way. It does feel like many Americans are just waking up to the fact that it's all fake. It's all very fake. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.